Welcome along everybody to my review for Spider-Man 2. I've just completed the game. I've actually just platinumed the game for coming here. 100% spectacular level 60. There are going to be some minor spoilers in this. I'm going to talk about the story. I'm going to show locations and everything. If you haven't or don't want to see that, then it's what my too long didn't read review. This game is great. It's taken me about 27 hours to platinum it. And I've been playing on spectacular difficulty. That's the hardest difficulty that you can pick at the start of the game. There is another difficulty above that which you unlock for completing the game, but you don't need it for the platinum. But I will probably do some ultimate difficulty ones. So let's get going. That is your last spoiler warning. We're going to jump straight into it. So let's just load into the game. And one thing to probably say straight off the bat is the game looks great. It moves great. I've had 3 crashes in my playthrough, and it's just really well optimized. If I push down here and fast travel, it does push you to a certain location, but that is fast traveling. It is so good. And let me just pull that down so you can't hear it so much. Yeah, the game is great. I want to talk about the story first. Let's get that out of the way. And it started off slow. It started off weak, in my opinion. You had Craven as the sort of the first main boss, or the first main. Well, yeah, Sandman actually the first main boss, and just to set the scene and stuff, getting everything. So you obviously had to, or Craven was after him, and then. What was it? Probably 80 or 75%, 70% of the game was focused on Craven as the main big bad. And when Spider-Man 2 was first announced, it was Venom was the big bad, right? And actually, they're symbiotes. We're not fighting them. Yeah, Craven was like, came out of the woodwork. It's like, hello, what's this? And then through that and Harry, you get the symbiote suit and like all of that. And then you end up with Venom at the end. The first act was weak in my, just the scene setting. It scene set a hell of a lot. You're bouncing around quite a lot between Miles and Spider-Man, which you do throughout the story, but the latter game does it a lot better, a lot more focused. And then it wasn't until you probably go to save Connors at the zoo that the game, well, the story certainly just took off from there and ended up being absolutely amazing. Really enjoyed it. Yeah, there's a couple of surprises, a couple of twists in there. I didn't see MJ becoming Scream, for instance, and then you happen to obviously get her back. I wish they would have, just let her be Scream a little bit longer. She teams up and then you trial the first cure, if that's the right word, for Venom on Scream, and it works. And like, yep, right, we now need to do this on Harry. Obviously, I only know Venom as Eddie Brock as well, so that was good. There's obviously when you had side mission the Flame, you got notification of Cassius Clay, so Carnage, being part of that. So yeah, that was really, really good. Let's talk combat quickly while we're here. And the combat is great. Can we just go in and do it? So you have basically 2 sets of abilities that you can go between. And the other ones are just better. The original ones are just not great. And once you unlock like the anti-venom stuff, it becomes so much better. But you can combo. You can keep people in there. You can juggle. It's so much better. Yeah, you just come in and do that. I've got to bust the door open here. Actually, I haven't done this one, and it's something I actually want to talk about at some point. We done? Yeah. Welcome. Yeah, so combat's really, really fluid. It flows nicely. You obviously have on left, you have L1, you have abilities which are your natural abilities. Again, you can customize them into whatever you want. So I've got Venom Bomb, I've got Anti-Venom Punch if I want it, or I've got Spider Barrage, and you just go Venom Bomb because it's the best. It works really well. And similarly, the same with Miles. As you go through the story, you get the blue powers, which is like Mr. Negative's powers fused in with you, and it does really, really good. And yeah, you can combo up some stuff. In terms of the skill trees, you have a Miles specific, a Spider-Man specific, and also a duo. I ended up just foregoing this sort of stuff because this is just navigating around. And I, picked these up first, which was really, really good. I think these are the ones you're going to need getting the two together. And then I started picking up the individuals. And I started obviously picking up these ones. This was completely locked until you get the symbiote suit on Spider-Man. And yeah, I'm glad I went into this first and spent most of my points in here and not maxed out this side first. I'll have been a bit peeved, but I've gone heavily into that. And then as soon as I think there's once I upgraded an ability, and then literally the next mission I got a better one. So it's like, that's a bit annoying. So that's, the combat, it flows really good. The prompts are really good. I at some point struggled with, there's a dodge mechanic, there's a parry mechanic, dodge with circle, parry with L1, and I struggled. There's like, it goes white as a sort of danger, there's something coming, red when it's about to hit, and that's when you parry. Then you have a yellow one come in, which is another parry. So it goes yellow into red, and at that point you parry. And then you have a blue one where you just need to dodge. And sometimes the combat's so frenetic that I found, maybe it's just kind of getting old nowadays, that you can't, that I just couldn't react quick enough. There is suit tech as well. I think it's in the focus tree. It slows things down. That's at critical health and only once per encounter, so not overly great. I don't think there was anything here that would have helped. Yeah, no, there's nothing in here that would have helped. But yeah, this is the other sort of stuff. Slight heal on perfect dodging, heal on 10 hit combo, web shooters heals you slightly. And I didn't use my web shooters enough actually in the playthrough. But there's enough variety in here and customization, as well as just an enemy variety. Now, generally the enemies fall into like your standard enemy, your range boy, your tanks and your heavy attackers. Like your tanks have a shield, and you have to you can pull off the shield and throw it back at them, or you can dodge underneath them. You've got your attackers that have like dual swords. There's a standard enemy that has dual swords from the hunter, that you have to go underneath them. You can't just web into them. What if I can showcase them on this. At this point, not sure how much of Craven's cronies are around, but you never know. If it's not Craven's dudes, yeah. But we'll come in. Yeah, so you get that red marker, and then you can parry. There's the parry, and then you just come in and just do a big ball of blurb. And then the other thing you've got is the tech on the side, and it actually is really good once you get the hang of the tech. It really does help. There you go. So that's all good. Your gadget's really, really good. Thank you. So that's, really, really good. Sounds really good. Visuals amazing. I've had a couple of issues with just, the general world, around you is really detailed, really well done. It's very populated. There's people, there's cars, all of that stuff. Cutscene wise, I have an issue with Miles's hair. It's a bit pixelated in areas. And also some of the non-main characters, when you see them, if I just come down here, there's a stark contrast between this lady I've just randomly fallen to, and if I was to see Genki or Haley or MJ, again, it's, I'm not expecting properly, random people to look as good as the main cast, but there is a big disparity between the two. But apart from that, visually, it's stunning. The cutscenes were all brilliant. There's no issues. I've had very few visual bugs. I've had a couple of people, when I've killed them, ragdoll through some of the environment. But yeah, it's all good. I say I've had 3 crashes in the game. This is literally 3 days after the game has come out. So I don't believe there's any patches that have come on. Yeah, 3 crashes. But luckily the autosave is really good. Really, really good. It puts you back basically where you were. If you fight like a normal random fight that we've seen a couple of them on, in this review, then you don't get them back because they're obviously just randomly generated. But in a boss battle, yeah, you're good. And it saves at each sort of phase. So especially the latter bosses have more than 1 health bar. And once you get through 1 health bar, that's it. You save there. You've got through that piece. And then you just go through and, yeah, restart back at the second phase if you die. While we're talking to bosses, I think that's probably where the game lets itself down the most. There's just not enough of them. You fight Sandman straight at the beginning. You've got Wraith as part of the Flame mission. You've got a Mysterio, and then you've got the main story bosses. What I enjoyed about Spider-Man 1 particularly was you fighting the Sinister Six, and there is a lot of them. There's a lot more interactions with them going around in the world. Whereas here, yeah, there wasn't that many. There's a couple of elites, but you could blitz them down, and everything was really easy, as I said, until probably the last foray into it. From probably the final Craven battle minus the one from Venom, that was really easy. But the one, the proper final one with Spider-Man, that was, yeah, pushed up the notch. And then, I say, the Venom battle at the end was taxing. It wasn't overly difficult. There's just a lot of mechanics that you have to go through to get through it. But yeah, there just wasn't enough boss battles in the game for my liking. If I look at a lot of the side quests that we were doing, I think it was the Flame and the Mysterio ones were the only ones that gave boss battles. And I'm trying to think back to Spider-Man 1. It's been a while, but I know you obviously had Tombstone, Trickster as well. Maybe it was only 2, but coupled with, say, the Sinister Six that you were fighting, yeah, it just felt a little bit shortchanged on bosses. Let's say the other thing, we've obviously done a couple of side little crimes. You don't really need to do them at all. You're not really rewarded to do them. You get tech parts, but you might see on the mini map at the bottom right, you'll see chests come through. And that's actually a perk that you can unlock, like that chest list here. You just don't need to go and do anything but these. These are so abundant. Let me just find it. Oh, there you are. Yeah, just find these and you get tech parts. And then there's golden ones as well, which give you rare tech parts, and that you just need them for everything. In terms of the hero tokens, if you look at Hell's Kitchen on the right, which is ×2, that's a hero token. You get them from doing a lot of the side missions. If you go, it tells you what they are. And again, I haven't really grinded everything. In terms of the Mysterium stuff, I have got gold in all but 3, and I've only ever literally, that was the first time I went through them and got through them, and then that's enough for me. And I don't need, as you see, I've still got 20 on the bottom right hand side of the screen. I've got 20 of the hero tokens, so you don't need to grind all of that stuff, which is really good. It's positive, really, really positive for me. Maneuverability and web slinging, generally on the whole, I found it okay. I've had a couple of issues where my R2 just doesn't seem to have triggered, and R2 is what you use to swing. So there, that's me pushing and holding R2. Push triangle and I get web wings, and you can see you get these things. It's like the wind tunnels, and then you can just slipstream across on these, and it just helps navigation through really good. And the whole map is unlocked for you off the start. You could go from Harlem to Brooklyn if you really, really fancied it, and go to Coney Island if you wanted to traverse all of that. And it's fun. There's nothing. There's a reason why I'm basically just flying around doing this review. It keeps the core heart of Spider-Man. You can do tricks, and there's a achievement for doing a trick and splatting on the floor. But yeah, you can do your tricks, and you can then jump, and then you can come off here. You can point launch, and you can wall run into point launch, and it's so good. So yeah, that Spider-Man 2 has been a cracking job, cracking game. It's been my most anticipated game of the year, and it hasn't let me down. And at this moment in time, is my game of the year. Of all the games I've played, I was hoping it might have been Final Fantasy 16, but yeah, that's not game of the year for me, unfortunately. But this, at the moment, as it stands, is, and there's not many more games coming out that I really am hyped for that could potentially beat it. That is how much I like it. There is, say, a couple of flaws. I've had a couple of crashes. I think the bosses are missing, but everything else in this game, the voice acting, the visuals, the music. As a content creator, I hate content ID, or whenever there's music just going along, you get copyright claimed. There's been a couple, but they actually don't affect monetization, which doesn't really affect me at this moment in time. But for your main YouTubers, again, they won't get affected by that. So again, simple things like that make it really, really good. Game of the year for me. This has been Spider-Man 2. Thank you very much, and I will see you all in the next one.